In the oldest versions of this story, the huntsman does not exist. Nobody is coming. That, in fact, is the point of it. Door drew the moment everyone remembers, the bed, the disguise, the questions. In 1697, what follows the questions is the end of the story. You know the rescue version: wolf swallows grandmother and girl, a huntsman opens it with shears, stones fill the belly. That is Grimm, 1812. But the Grimms were retrofitting a French story. A century earlier, Perrault told it to the salons of Versailles and let the wolf win. Perrault's 1697 text is short, elegant and merciless. She undresses, climbs in beside the wolf, asks her famous questions, and is eaten. Full stop. The last sentence of the original has no sequel and no mercy. French children in 1697 heard the door close. Then Perrault turns to his audience and explains himself in verse, a moral addressed not to children, but to pretty, well-bred young ladies. And he spells the metaphor out. The wolf is not an animal. It is a category of charming men, and the tale is a warning about their manners. Note what else belongs to Perrault: the hood itself. No earlier oral telling mentions one. He dressed the story for court the way he dressed the girl. Because behind his page lies an older story, told by French peasants for generations, and finally written down in the Nivernais in the 1880s. In the grandmother's tale there is no hood at all. A girl meets a bisou, a werewolf, at a fork, the path of needles, or the path of pins. The bisou reaches the farmhouse first. What he does there, the tale states without flinching: flesh to the pantry, blood to a bottle on the shelf. The girl arrives and is invited to eat and drink. She does, unknowing, while a cat on the beam jeers that she has eaten her own grandmother. Then the bisou has her burn her clothes, garment by garment. You will not, he tells her, be needing them. The oral tellers knew exactly what that meant. Then comes the catechism every version keeps: the arms, the ears, the eyes, the teeth, the oldest call and response in European storytelling. And here the peasant tale swerves. The girl says she must go outside to relieve herself. The bisou ties a rope to her ankle and lets her out. Outside, she slips the rope over a plum tree and runs for the river. In the oldest version on record, the girl rescues the girl. So the tale never softened in a straight line. The peasant girl escapes, the courtly girl dies, the grim girl waits for a man with an axe. The Grimms heard a Perrault-descended version from the Hassenflug sisters, and stitched on a rescue, borrowed, scholar's note, from the Wolf and the Seven Kids. Few remember the Grimm sequel: a second wolf, lured off the roof by sausage smell into a waiting trough, drowned by grandmother and girl, no huntsman required. Which means even the safe German version ends with the women handling it alone. The huntsman was a guest appearance, not a law of nature. Now the debunk, a claim recycled through pop psychology for a century, and structurally impossible on the evidence. The historian Robert Darnton made this tale his cautionary example: study the versions people actually told, or you end up psychoanalyzing a printing decision. What the old versions actually teach is operational: recognize predators in disguise, stall for time, use the terrain, and trust your own legs. Folklorists file it as a warning tale broadcasting on two frequencies: real wolves for the children, and Perrault's gentle wolves for their older sisters. Even in the rescue version, notice who fetches the stones that finish the wolf. The girl does. The huntsman only opens the door. For centuries of retellings argue over a single question: does the girl need saving? The oldest answer on record is no. And the hood Perrault invented became the most recognizable costume in world folklore, proof that an editor sometimes outlives the tale. Told straight, the 1697 ending is the strongest safety lesson ever printed for children. The world contains wolves, and charm is their camouflage. Next, Rumpelstiltskin, 4,000 years old by scientific dating, and the rare tale the Grimms made bloodier with every edition. Subscribe for the versions underneath.